Whenever we are about to engage in a negotiation, it is good to remind ourselves of the 6 stages of negotiation, since those stages will provide a framework, provide a scaffolding from which we can build a successful negotiation. The 6 stages are preparation, build relationship, exchange information, persuade, make concessions, and hopefully reach an agreement, or walk away. Of those 6 stages, the most important one is preparation. You should never negotiate unprepared. The question is, how do you prepare? What do you need to know in order to be prepared? Well, first we need to make sure that we speak the same language. So here are 5 concepts that we need to understand. First, parties. The parties are, of course, the people who will be negotiating with each other. The parties to any specific negotiation can vary, but most commonly one party is the buyer and the other party is the seller. 2, issues. The issues are the things that we negotiate over, the things that need to be discussed and resolved. There are different kinds of issues: substantive issues, intangible issues, zero-sum issues, positive-sum issues, etc. 3, alternatives. Alternatives are all the possible outcomes from the negotiation, including both the options that you are discussing and, more importantly, the possibilities that you have outside of the current negotiation. In fact, the most relevant alternative is what you will do if you cannot reach an agreement. And this is what we call the Batna. 4, positions. Your position is what you are asking for, what your proposals are. 5, interests. Your interests are the underlying reasons for why you take certain positions. It is important to distinguish between a position and an interest. A position is really only a means to satisfy an interest. Although we tend to focus on ours and the other side's stated positions, we should remember that what we are really trying to achieve is the satisfaction of our interest. And there might be many different ways to achieve this. Okay, so if you understand the concepts of a party, an issue, an alternative, and the difference between a position and an interest, then you are ready to learn about the 4 key building blocks for any negotiation. These are the 4 things that you should know before you start the negotiation. The first thing that you must determine is your target point. The target point is the negotiator's most preferred outcome, the ideal outcome that is still realistic. It cannot be crazy. But if you get to this point, then you would like to conclude the negotiation. The second thing that you must determine is your reservation point. This is the point at which a negotiator is indifferent between reaching a deal and simply walking away. And sometimes we call this the resistance point. This is your bottom line, and you should not, never, negotiate beyond this point. It is better to just walking away. Of course, your reservation point depends on what happens if you walk away. That is, it depends on what your alternatives are if no deal is reached. Actually, only one alternative matters, namely the best alternative to a negotiated agreement, the Batna. Your Batna is your plan for what you will do in case no agreement is reached. And Batna is incredibly important in any negotiation, since it will be determining your bargaining power. For example, if you have no good alternatives, then you really have no bargaining power. But if you have good alternatives, a good Batna, then you are in a position of power. You will be able to be more aggressive. Okay, so once you know your target point, your reservation point, which in turn is determined by your Batna, then you're ready to decide on your opening bid, your opening offer. And the opening bid is, of course, your first proposal, your first position. These are the concepts and building blocks that you must have thought about and determined before you start engaging with the other side. That is, These are the things you will consider as you prepare for a negotiation. Here's a bonus concept: the SOPA, the zone of possible agreement, also known as the bargaining zone or the bargaining range. The SOPA is the range between the two sides' reservation points. If the SOPA is negative, that is, there is no overlap between the two sides' reservation points, then a mutually beneficial agreement is not possible, and it would be better for the two sides to not negotiate. Of course, we will usually not know the other side's reservation point, especially before we start negotiating. In fact, one goal of the negotiation is to try to determine what the other side's reservation point is, since if you can do that, then that will be the best possible outcome for you.